versus iPhone 12, the battle of not flagships. Yeah, I call it the battle of not flagships because both phones pretty much spec everything their sibling flagships kind of like spec, but at the same time they tone down a couple of stuffs that make them the non-flagship. But at the same time, they are still technically flagship, which is why I call it the battle of non-flagships. That being said, let's get into it. So first up, colors. Both phones pretty much spec almost every major color you want to think out there. You've got reds, you've got mint green, you've got blue, or you've got green, you've got blue. It's pretty much like a chaos or a battle of colors right there. Like both of them have pretty much any color you want to think of that can actually run or rock with any kind of like fit or personality you kind of like have. So on the color side, it's pretty much a draw right there. Both of them actually support dual SIM. So yeah, I know iPhone's dual SIM. iPhones actually have dual SIMs in China, and for the rest of the world, they give you the eSIM option, which allows you to use an eSIM alongside your basic SIM, which allows you to have dual SIM on your phone. Quite conversely to the Samsung S20 FE, which pretty much in the United States you can't get a dual SIM version, but outside of the US you can't get a dual SIM version. So in terms of connectivity, at least flexibility on dual SIM part, iPhone kicks that straight up there. Taking a look at the build, this phone's actually really pretty and beautiful. That's my opinion pretty much, but the build's actually very drastic, very different. On the iPhone 12, you've got the aluminium frame, the glass with a glass front and back, and it's just pretty. I love the streamlined curves, the fact that it is flat. It's literally flat on the front and the back, and it's just really beautiful. The design has been restructured this year, and it's just amazing. On the S20 FE, you've pretty much got the same design across the Galaxy lineup, not so different from what we had last year, but a redesigned camera bump. The front camera has been placed central, and it's actually the smallest poncho camera they've got on any phone right now in the market, and it's just really designed really sleek. So I love the curves too. It's got the curved screen on the front, but it's made of plastic. Now, what is plastic? I don't understand what plastic is. It's pretty much a mix of plastic on the back and glass on the front. Am I really a fan of this? No, but it does not attract so much fingerprints. So overall, it's kind of like okay. It's a good design. On the protection side, some iPhone actually introduced the ceramic shield this year, which actually makes the front glass a lot tougher or difficult to shatter, which is great. Conversely to that, when you increase shatter resistance, you also make it a little bit more sensitive to scratching. That being said, throughout when I've been using this without a case, I haven't been able to scratch it yet, so that's actually a plus on that. It's actually quite tough to break and still fairly difficult to scratch, so it's kind of like okay on that part. Meanwhile, on the S20 FE, it's not so much of a good news. They made the front Gorilla Glass 3 in order to try and like reduce cost, and unfortunately I broke the screen. Like it fell twice and it shattered. So that on that I don't pretty much. So if you're looking for the stronger one, definitely the iPhone wins on design and strength this time. On the camera bump side, I actually prefer the camera bump on the iPhone because it's flat. It's probably one of the flattest camera bumps I've actually seen on any device this year. While the one on the Samsung is not so bad. It's actually beautiful to look at, but it's a huge, not a huge, but it's a decent amount of a bump, and the person on the table on the back without a case wobbles, while for the iPhone it just kind of like just sits there right there. So definitely prefer that too. And overall, they're both actually IP68 water resistant, but it's actually quite funny this very part, because while both of them are IP68, which is literally the same exact rating, the iPhone can go in water for 6 meters up to 30 minutes, while the Samsung can only go for 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. So that kind of gives me a huge contrast, because if you're looking at them from both sides, you've got one that is, both of them are pretty much IP68, but one can go 6 meters, the other 1.5 meters. Like who's actually regulating this at the end of the day? But we're gonna leave it at that. So overall for the build, I actually prefer the iPhone 12 hands down. It's probably the most beautiful handset drop this year of mobile phone. And the Samsung S20 FE is pretty nice, but just doesn't come quite close to the iPhone in my own opinion. So going to the display, the iPhone sports a Super Retina XDR OLED display that actually has doubly vision and true tone display pretty much embedded into it, and it actually gives you one hell of a display. I don't think I would actually say this, but I actually fell in love with the display of the iPhone. It's actually quite crazy. While on the Samsung, you've got the AMOLED display, which has been known for its great colors, its great contrast, and overall, Samsung still makes one of the best displays in the industry, if not the best display in the industry. So overall, it's actually quite a funny battle right here because for personalizing this, I would say I actually prefer the iPhone's display for regular day-to-day use because so iPhone actually calibrated the color tones and all of that on their phone in such a way that you can't really edit or change it, but that also gives you a true color tone, as I said, true tone that actually represents reality and you can actually use it anywhere, anytime in sunlight. It's just super bright, super cool. The contrast are great. It's easy on the eyes. I can use it in complete darkness and it doesn't affect my eye for a single bit. Samsung, on the other hand, gives you the ability to actually meddle with the display, edit. You could go vivid if you're trying to like watch movies, and gives you a whole lot of colors, very rich colors, which you can definitely use in the dark, as I discovered later on, because it actually affects your eyes with a lot of blue lights coming in through that. But you could actually adjust this from natural to vivid and change the color tones, and because it's so much flexibility in that, I would actually officially give the winner to the Samsung because you can actually switch or tweak this to match your preference. But overall, if I'm to choose a display that you just pick right out of the box, you don't want to do anything, so you just want it to work perfectly the way it should work, definitely the iPhone goes for that display. Now to the refresh rates, the iPhone refreshes at 60Hz. Now I don't know why they didn't go to 120Hz, or I technically know why they're pretty much saving some things for the iPhone 13, which totally makes sense. Plus the battery drain 120Hz actually puts on the phone is actually quite, or the battery demand is actually quite hefty. While on the Samsung, you've got 120Hz display. Now, if you use 120Hz display, you most likely would not want to go back to 60Hz because the experience is just different. It's smoother, the scrolling, the engagements with entertainment, even gaming and all of that is just a whole lot better. And as a result, this would make me still give Samsung the overall winner for the display category, just because of the 120Hz refresh rate. Now down to a part I know a lot of you always pretty much want to see in comparison videos, and that is the cameras. So the iPhone sports two cameras on the back. So you've got the cameras 12 megapixel on the back, a wide and an ultra wide at 1.4 and 2.2, while the Samsung sports a triple camera setup. You've got both 12 megapixels, so the wide and the ultra wide, so they're pretty much the same on the iPhone. But the difference being the telephoto camera, which is the 8 megapixel camera for the telephoto, while the Samsung sports 12 megapixels for the wide and the ultra wide too at 1.8 and 2.4, and with the major difference being the telephoto camera, which is the 8 megapixel camera on the rear. Now in pretty much spec to spec, both cameras are literally 12 megapixel versus 12 megapixel on both the wide and the ultra wide, and that's primarily the cameras most of us use. Most people don't actually go into the photo except they're trying to take portrait shots, and in reality they're actually trying to take portrait shots. In some scenarios you actually get it better or uses more of the wide camera anyway, which is the primary camera, and even for night photography and all of that. So pretty much those are primarily two major cameras you need anyways that the phones actually really do use. So that being said, in true life comparison, I'm not so proud of these results, guys. If you guys know me already, I'm actually a very big Android fan. I've actually been so much a super Android person, but unfortunately, they kind of go look at these pictures and the fact that the iPhone is consistent, and this is one thing I would say straight up for the cameras. You could point and shoot at any time and expect good results, like a decent picture. Now, in a few scenarios, the Samsung actually comes through a little better, especially when taking things like landscape, when trying to take pictures of like the sky. You could see a little bit more color, a little bit more contrast coming here and there with the Samsung, but it's not all the time. Literally, it's not a consistent result, and that is the biggest problem I have. You can take the same picture 3 times, or you might need to take the same picture 3 times just to get a very decent result. So with the iPhone, just go and shoot, and it's always almost gonna come out on point. That being said, moving forward, you can see that it's I don't know if iPhone just kind of like shines through both an ultra wide and straight up point and shoot. And even when you zoom in on the iPhone, comparing its digital zoom to the telephoto camera on the iPhone on Samsung, it still wins in most of the scenarios, which is actually quite strange. But the biggest part of it that was actually the biggest shocker for me is the night mode. In night mode, everybody knows Apple actually is one of the last guys to actually come and activate the night mode on their phones. But the iPhone literally outshined the Samsung. I was shocked. So I actually took these pictures a couple of minutes ago prior to actually shooting this video, and I deliberately turned off the lights completely. So there was only a very faint light in the background, which is coming from my diffuser, which is very, very faint and very light. The Samsung couldn't take a single picture with light in it. Everything was black, like pitch black. While the iPhone came out with clear pictures, I could still see the image, zoom in, there was still good contrast. You could see the lines, it wasn't blurry. I was shocked, like literally the results completely shocked me. It's like, whoa, like, no, Samsung, I'm really disappointed you guys need to work on your cameras. Like, oh, the software behind the cameras at this point, because, yo, it is what it is. So moving on to videos, both of them actually do allow you to record 4K videos up onto 60 FPS, which I really do love. On the iPhone, it allows you to do 24, 30 and 60 FPS, while on the Samsung you can only do the 30 and the 60 FPS. Now, if you're more into the cinematic scene or like view, you might actually prefer the iPhone because of just the 24 FPS on that, but not going beyond that. iPhone has introduced the double vision into its videos recording this year, and a whole lot more tweaks that just makes its video a lot better and a lot more solid, and actually prefer the image and the result and the quality you're getting over that of the Samsung, which is actually I'm actually recording this video right now with both cameras, so you can actually see what the difference looks like right now. But that being said, I like the Samsung on the software side because it actually allows you to do pro video. Now, if you want to see more about pro video, you can actually click on the link up there and go watch my review of the S20 FE after 90 days. The Samsung actually allows you to do a lot of more software tweaks that actually let you get a whole lot more precision with the videos you're trying to record. With the iPhone, it's more kind of like automated. The AI actually helps you get along, but it does so much of a really good job that I will give the iPhone the camera champ right here. Like both for still photos and for videos, they literally just blew the Samsung out in the waters. I'm sorry Samsung, but yeah, iPhone wins this round. So on the processor side, you've got the iPhone's been powered by the A14 Bionic processor, which is the 5nm processor, which is the latest one they just released. And right now in the industry, it is actually the fastest and best processor. Like there's no going there. Samsung runs on the Snapdragon 865, which was actually the last flagship processor that was released. The 7nm, so it's not actually as fast or as efficient when it comes to power management and things like graphics processing as the 5nm A14 Bionic. But that being said, it still holds its ground on things like games. There is literally no difference. There is no lags. I enjoyed my gaming experience on both phones perfectly. The result is just great. Like the experience of using both phones, they don't lag. Technically, let me use the technical parts. The iPhone never lags. If you open quite a lot of apps, which I actually do run a lot of apps, very, very seldomly does actually choke down an app. On the Samsung, however, that is not so much of the case. And the reason is, which leads to my next point, the iPhone 12 has been powered by 4GB of RAM, which technically you think is actually small for a flagship phone, but the way Apple has actually designed their system, it is so much so integrated that overall you get a very, very decent RAM management that allows the phone to actually work perfectly in sync. And yeah, as I said, it doesn't lag, it doesn't stutter, it rarely ever does drop out an app, even if I open like 10-15 apps that I'm running at the same time. While on the Samsung, that is not so much of the case. My 6GB of RAM once in a while lags, sometimes it actually freezes, and on a few times I've actually had to restart my phone just because my apps froze and the phone wouldn't respond anymore. Now for 865 Snapdragon, that shouldn't be the case, but thanks to poor RAM management and all of that going on with the Samsung, despite the fact that it has 6GB of RAM, that is actually more than the iPhone, it still lags and stutters. So if you're to get the Samsung, I would say please just go for the 8 gigabytes of RAM minimum. And that's literally the minimum you actually want to start with. Now to the speakers, both of them actually support dual stereo speakers, which would actually sound great loud. The way the iPhone has designed their speakers this year, it actually uses part of the aluminium chassis to actually act as the mini subwoofer. So as you're playing songs that actually have deep bass, you can actually feel it vibrate out from the chassis to give you a deep, richer bass experience, especially with things like movies, giving that totally sound effect. It actually sounds really great and I love it. Now it is not actually quite as loud as the Samsung S20 FE. It actually has a much louder, I would say almost clearer speaker setup. It's definitely much louder, you can actually hear it, but it's not as rich as the iPhone. So it's kind of like tit for tat. One is louder, a little bit more clearer, but it's not rich. While one gives you rich, deep sound experience, which is the iPhone. So it's like, which one do you want to go for? For me, I actually use them kind of like back to back. So iPhone, and I'm just trying to get that rich media experience, and the Samsung, and I just want to like blast out music and just enjoy some grooves from my phone. Definitely the Samsung would technically win because I play more music than actually enjoy rich media like watching movies on my phone. So definitely the Samsung wins this round. Now for charging, Samsung supports up to 25 watts charging, which is technically fast charging as they call it, but according to industry standards, I'm sorry, that's slow. In the industry now you actually have devices that can charge as fast as 120 watts. So 25 watts is slow, especially for a phone that actually supports for 500 milliamps of battery. That is slow for me, and it supports 15 watts wireless charging. Now, that also adds on to a 4.5 watts reverse wireless charging. So if things like your buds, your headphones, your watch or whatever needs to be charged, you just place it on the back of your phone. We give that a quick charge thanks to its big battery size too. That actually really does help. While the iPhone has a 15 milliamp battery and supports 20 watts fast charging also in quotes, and 15 watts wireless charging. Now it doesn't have reverse wireless charging like the Samsung, and even though it has 15 watts fast wireless charging, which is decent enough, it only charges at 7.5 watts for other chargers and only does 15 watts with the MagSafe. So you only get that 15 watt charging if you are using the MagSafe. So that's something to look towards there, or to actually take caution on that point. But that being said, for both of them, charging speed, both of them actually charge decently okay. With the iPhone, definitely with a smaller battery and 20 watts charge, actually charge a little faster than the Samsung. Now, in day-to-day use, the iPhone technically survives the whole day with decent usage, while the Samsung also survives at least an hour or so longer than that, thanks to its much bigger battery size. But it doesn't translate to twice the lifespan, and that is because things like power management and also the fact that it has 120 Hz refresh rate, which I said initially actually burns through a lot of battery. So overall, which one would I go for and which one would I pick? Frankly, I would say you guys decide. Both of them are actually great, amazing phones, which I can actually use both of them as my daily drivers without any basic or major issue. So that's it for me. This is the Battle of Titans, or the not so flagships. On to the next one. My name is s20, and please like this video, subscribe, and let's get us to probably like 50 likes and a couple of subscriptions, and let's do the next video. Up until next time, my name is s20, and thanks for watching this. Cheers.